till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome into Pregaming here on Sports Money. You know you can find us here Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. breaking down the card, sharing my best bets, trying to give you guys some angles, some different thinking process to help you guys find victory, trying to get them gold coins here through the summer. As we get ready for a big fall season right around the corner, we've got 44 days till the NFL, 32 days till college football. The countdown is on. And we have a reasonably clear forecast across the Major League Baseball slate tonight. So should be a lot of fun. Should be a good night to go get after it. I'm looking forward to getting after it. You guys can see I have a fully loaded card tonight. We've got action in a lot of games. I even added a game. I could have added another game in the WNBA, but I think I'll opt not to here. Coming back from the All-Star break, obviously we need to be careful. As we've seen with Major League Baseball, they're into their second series post-All-Star break, but man, anything can happen. We got to be very cautious as we look to stack this second half, essentially kind of looking at it as starting from scratch, right? We had a great first half of the baseball season. Let's put that away. Let's make sure that we still make educated and informed decisions here. We don't want to give this bankroll back. So we're going to try that tonight. We've got, as I said, a loaded slate, plenty of 645 action too. So we got to get moving. We don't have a lot of time to go here. The Tigers and the Pirates will battle back in a shutout performance, couple shutout performances last night that we will tackle tonight. The Padres, the Fathers and the Marlins will battle down in Miami. We'll see about that game and how we get paid there. We'll talk Red Sox and Phillies, the Yankees and Toronto. Couple of teams on 11-game win streaks right now. Shout out to our guy, Bo Jackson, talking about them Toronto Blue Jays last night. So we'll cover Yankees, Toronto. We'll talk San Francisco and Atlanta. Nice 14 straight winning trend that we're going to cover for you guys there. We've got the Astros in Arizona. Two-leg parlay. Side in the total, plus 255 spot in that game. Talk a little bit about what I think is some inside information. The second team on an 11-game win streak happened to be the Milwaukee Algonquin for the Goodland Brewers. Taking on the Mariners. Taking on the Mariners and Logan Gilbert in a pitcher's ballpark. And then I've got two WNBA games. Again, WNBA fresh back from the All-Star break. This will be their first games. 5 games in play tonight in the WNBA. The Sky and the Lynx and Dallas Wings taking on the Seattle Storm out there in Seattle. And an added game, Oakland and Nomad. I'm sorry, I said Oakland. It's Nomad. The Nomad Athletics and the Texas Rangers is an added game that we will share some additional inside information on there. I think we got a nice card tonight. It's a big one. It's loaded up. We're ready for bear, and it does start very soon. So we got to get a move on. But before we do anything, we start with the recap. Kind of looking across the Twitterscape. Guess I was happy to get out of this thing. You know, not excited about being up 0.21 units yesterday, but in hindsight, you know, we were right there in a couple of spots. Let's talk about it. We'll look at this. We started out pretty hot. The Cleveland Guardians got it done. They started out down. Was a little down. Before the show ended, though, they tied it back up 3-3. The Padres, I told you the entire Twitterverse was on the Marlins. And it wasn't the Marlins. We got the Padres at a plus 120 price tag. 2-1 score, low scoring game. We'll see if that can continue on tonight. The Reds, despite a noble effort there in reliever territory, just couldn't figure it out. 10-8 final. We took that L. We did get that tennis play I gave you guys, plus 150. Feels a little tongue-in-cheek to say that because I started off our afternoon with a disgusting 0-2 tennis performance. We lost the under 8.5 in the Angels. We lost the Angels at a big plus 155 tag. Angels first 5, good. Angels full game, bad. Bullpen imploded. Lost that game 7-5. That was one of those spots where it's like, if that game had just if they had just hung on, if they had just put a couple extra runs on. But what I tell you guys, the Mets, first third, last third, middle third, not so good. Now, they didn't start out so well in that first third either, but they did come rallying back in that last third. And they punched me in the face. Our 3-leg parlay, Tampa, St. Louis, Arizona, did not cash. I did live bet St. Louis. Did get that money. Under 8.5 in the Texas Rangers game. Meaningless late run pushes that thing over by a half a run. They get 7-2 final. There's another one of those bad bounces. Kansas City, the Cubs, my late ad, did not do us well. Chopped us. Kansas City put up 12 runs. Holy cow, 12 runs. It's kind of the spot we were looking for. If this was an afternoon game for the Cubs, then we would be looking to get involved with a Cubs spot today because they bounce back after a loss in afternoon games. We've talked about that last week. We'll keep looking at that. We'll see what they do here tonight because I believe tomorrow is an afternoon game. We finished it off back-to-back wins with that Brewers spot. The Brewers won plus 105 to get that 11 straight win streak. They won 6-0, which means our parlay with Milwaukee in the under 8 cash for plus 211. Didn't feel like it, but we eked out profit. I hate to say that because, if you're $100 better, that means you won 21 bucks. That ain't paying no bills. That ain't even buying any lunch these days. So we got to do a better job tonight. I think we're lined up to do just that. I think we've got a really nice card in place for us here. Before we do that, though, do have to pay homage. We lost a real one today. We say goodbye to no ordinary man. In fact, Iron Man, also known as the Prince of Darkness, has stopped that crazy train. Maybe I'm going straight to hell for giving him this eulogy so quickly here, but all my life of concerts I'd been to, will never forget the Ozzy show I went to, MMA Jeff and a friend of mine way back in high school. There'll be no more tears for this man. Mama, he's coming home. 76 years old, rest in peace to none other than Ozzy Osbourne. See you on the other side, my man. What a tremendous career for that guy. And man, he had been battling ailments for it seemed like the last 15, 20 years. You guys probably are old enough to remember that Osbourne show over on MTV when they transitioned from music and they went on over to, I don't know what they went to, programming, I guess. They had that Osbourne show. Man, I don't know. He had the trembles. He just had a lot of stuff going on out there. And man, he was singing right to the end. You got to give him that. So RIP to Ozzy. Tremendous career. And yes, every one of those shout outs had a song name from Ozzy's career. So it's a sad day. It's a sad day, but look, it was just like 4 days ago he was performing. So God bless him. We'll wish him well. His family as well will be in our prayers. Always difficult to lose the patriarch of the family, but they will move on. They will be just fine. I'm sure of it. And sad day, 76 years old. So in any event, it's sad. Sad to see. Jeff Matthews says, bit the Pat's head off. Little unknown movie. Remember when Ozzy pissed on the Alamo and they banned him? And he came back and he rocked that place. Does anybody know the name of the movie from that guy? I'm curious. All right, you guys know the deal. Again, we got to get moving. We got a lot to do. We always get it in. We're going to cover. I don't like to get the 6:30 games in there because I always feel like we're under the gun, but there's just 3 spots. In fact, 4 games that I want to get involved with here. So let's get to work. You guys know the deal. Smash that thumbs up button here. We're pre-show. Pre-show, if you know. You smash the, or in show, I should say, if you know. You smash that thumbs up button. That's how you support us here. Out of the show, you leave some comments. Shout out to Tom. Left some tremendous golf comments out there. We've got the golf video loaded for the PGA 3M Open this week. This ain't one to sleep on. This ain't the field with Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and the rust. It's a bunch of mediocre players trying to go out there and earn some accolades in the golf season. So there's some really great price tags out there. We gave you guys top 20s, top 10s, top 5s, first round leaders, and outrights. And a little known fact, I talked about it in the video today. If If you were one of those guys that didn't know anything and you blindly bet Scotty Scheffler to win every tournament, the reason we don't talk Scotty Scheffler, I don't care if you got him live at 200s and 300s. If you're a $100 better on Scotty Scheffler blindly to win every tournament this year, you're only up $185. Now, that is eking out profit. But that's not what we do on that golf show. So make sure you guys check that out. But anyhow, we are in that spot to support the show. Your thumbs up matter. We're a little laggard here with the summertime. I guess it's the dog days of summer, but it's not going to take the shine off of this tremendous year that we've had. And I think we've got some great shots to get after tonight. So show me the support. Show some love, guys. Smash that thumbs up button. All right, you guys, pen and paper out. It's time to talk about my favorite part of the show. That is the best bets from our chat. Shout out to whoever used the StreamYard link today. First time I've seen a StreamYard referral. I didn't even know that was a thing. Apparently it is a thing. And shout out to Fernando Mendoza liking the tweet out there as well. That does help a ton too. You guys, appreciate you showing the support, showing the love. We're just here grinding, trying to give you guys best bets and get you guys paid. Ignatius Pennyfeather the 7th is here. So sports money, let's go. Junior Ram, Harper, Wood, home run parlay, 115-1. Let's go. We did have that Jose Ramirez spot last night. That was a nice little first inning casher. Shout out to Markel. Shout out to Nasty Nate, a.k.a. the wrench, a.k.a. the mechanic. Guys got more wrenches than your neighborhood mechanic. Shout out to Gerald Jones. Says, let's go. Bet winner last night, 56-50 now. He's giving you guys Baltimore, Cleveland. He's got the over 8. Oldie says it's sick on. Thanks. I was struggling for the word, Oldie. As eloquent as I tried to get my pre-show right up there. I couldn't think of what that was called. So appreciate that. Peter Gracias, RIP Ozzy, of course. Damon Waring says, good evening. And Sports Betting Patrick. Thanks, Ozzy. But baseball slate is loaded. It's 25 minutes until first pitch. Let's get after it. Okay, well said. Oldie says, we're rocking Sabbath on 50-mile offshore on Sunday. Gathered like watches at Black Masses. Damon Waring, is anyone taking the Orioles tonight? San Francisco Niners says, leaning Pirates. Don Play. Liberty Moneyline for a parlay piece. I'd like to know what y'all think. Fernando Mendoza reposted the stream. That's what I'm talking about, my dude. Appreciate that. San Francisco Niners says, I'd rather go under 163.5. That was the play I was going to almost add. The Liberty. Sharp respected betting across all of the WNBA today. The biggest spot came out there for the under in that Caitlin Clark-less team. Good to see you, Don Play. Thank you. Shout out to Damon Waring. He's got the Giants. Let's get this money, says Fernando Mendoza. So let's go, you guys. It is that time. Let's kick this bow off, or let's kick this thing off here. I was just laughing. I was gonna try to transition to an Ozzy song, but I was singing Ozzy songs all afternoon, so I can't think of a place to get involved with that. So we're gonna deal with it. Matt Complex says, you said Giants a couple days ago. Damn, they got cooked. Who said Giants a couple days ago? Me? Did I? The skunk bag play of the day, says Twins money line, and the under 9 for a plus 365 monster payday. Oh man, Dixon Elam Moore says sports money is money. Take the White Sox run total over. Oh, okay. I was like, I don't think I've taken the Giants in a minute. It's all good though. We got to be accountable here. I try to be accountable every single show. Let's pop it off. We might as well start this thing with a double dip. Bang! Right off the hop here. Yeah, we're going after it for a couple of reasons. We'll talk about them here in just a second. You guys know the deal. We start out talking about this cash flow kind of line movement analysis, try to see if we can make heads or tails of it. And I'll tell you this, team coming off a shutout in play with this game. The Pirates won 3-0 yesterday, beat them Tigers. 75% of the bets and 94% of the cash have rained in on the Tigers. It's a Tigers day. They buy into this. The totals move from 8 to 8.5 in some books, but not real 8.5. It's still predominantly minus 110s across the board on those 8s. And you have 91% of the bets on the over, only 75% of the cash. And I say only, but the point is there's a 16-point differential that's leaning to the under. Bigger bettors coming in on the under. It's Casey Mize with a 3.15 ERA. And it's Mitch Keller with a 3.48 ERA. Now, if you don't know, now you know. Mitch Keller tryout season right now. Mitch Keller's got the golden ticket, and it happens to be his arm, and he's looking to get the hell out of Pittsburgh. He don't care if Paul Skeens is there. Make some way for this guy to get the love in Pittsburgh because he wants out. And I think that's the motivation spot for this guy to get involved tonight. I don't know if he wants out, but I'd imagine I wouldn't want in. Not there. I mean, I like Pittsburgh. I like the, I like the sandwich. The Primanti. I was thinking of the Primanti brothers sandwich. I went when I lived in Philly, worked with a guy that was a Primanti, was the kicker for Penn State. Family relation to the Primanti brother sandwich. But as it relates to this game and what Pittsburgh can do for you today, it's Keller. Look, they're talking about this guy, as I mentioned. He's got that 2.32 ERA over his last 7 starts, 2.92 over his last 12. So as the talk is picking up, he is recording quality starts, 14 of his 20 outings this season. Mitch, the bitch Keller, should go out there and shove. And at home, 7 home starts, 2.98 ERA. So yes, this Tigers lineup is sneaky. They can go out there and fire, and I do think in the bounce back position after getting shut out, they probably do that. However, got to look at some stats here. They're only averaging 0.8 runs a game in their last 4 games. That's since the All-Star break. In fact, go back to bubble out the whole month of July, pre-All-Star break to date, they're only hitting a 228 against righties. It's good enough to be 23rd overall in Major League Baseball. Not the defiant Tigers that you necessarily want to be betting. So instead of backing the team off the shutout, I opted to double dip. Mize, looking for a bounce back. His last start, he gave up 6 runs. But before that, he was averaging a 2.34 ERA in the 6 starts on top of that. So giving up 2 earned runs or less in 12 of 16 starts out there. 3.08 ERA on the road. It's not terrible. I mean, it does go up a little bit, but most pitchers' ERAs go up when they go on the road. So this thing's a modest, not even a 0.5 point increase. And, in terms of bad opportunities out there, I talked about where the Detroit Tigers lie. OBA, on-base average here for the batters for this Pittsburgh Pirates team is 29th in baseball. WRC plus, they rank 28th in baseball. Now, I talk about some terms. We talked a week ago about FIP and some of those other batting trends that you hear out there. Let's talk about WRC plus for a minute. In case you don't know and you hear it being thrown around out there, what WRC plus is, and I think it's relevant this time of year, it takes all of the stuff, right, that accounts for baseball. It's runs created, leveraging external ballpark factors, weather, ERAs when the players are competing against those pitchers, all of that. And an average, a median baseball score is 100. So use 100 as the Mendoza line. If the team's over 100, which we'll talk about in a couple teams later on today, in WRC plus, they're playing well. They're playing above average in those expectations from a batting perspective. And if they're below, as we see the Pirates at 81, it's good enough to be 28th in baseball. So we got 2 bottom-feeding baseball teams rolling out here. We do have that 3-0 game yesterday. I think it's a pitching dominant performance out there. I like the first 5 and the full game. It's a double dip to pop the top on the card. And we're going to keep it rolling. And we'll move right on into game number 2. Get these 645 spots out there for you guys here. Padres and Marlins in the spot heard around the world yesterday. All that Marlins love for a 640 start that pops off here. Big time reverse line movement. Yes, 51% of the bets are back on the Marlins, the public. 82% of the cash taking them Padres. They saw what the Marlins did yesterday, despite it being, a 2-1 final. They said, I don't want any part of it. And the bookie said, thank you, sir. May you take some more. It went from -108 to +115. That represents a 23-cent movement. That's a 33% differential. Bigger money coming in on this Padres side. And the total's got 85% of the bets and 72% of the cash on the over. It's Eddie Cabrera. Now, I was not buying that Yuri Perez nonsense that was in place yesterday. I wasn't part of it. But I'm not buying the Kolick nonsense that's in place with the Padres today. 4.24 ERA for this Bucker on the road. That's Bucker with a B. And I got to take the Marlins here. I'll give you guys a little trend. We talk about the consistency of baseball and you win a couple, you lose a couple, and the magic number is 2. Teams on a 2-game winning streak versus teams on a 2-game losing streak. The losing team prevails. 236 times to 162. Almost an 80-game opportunity for us to get involved here. Tonight's the night I'm going to go in on these Marlins. Tonight. I think Kolek opens up as a dog for a reason. I see this Marlins money line. It's a little pricier than I'd like, but I do think we do have another low-scoring game. Not mad at anybody that wants to play that under 8. I think that's a good-looking spot as well. It's kind of weird, though, that it started at 8, and it really hasn't moved off of 8. Like, I would have hoped to see a 7.5 to really be confident with that under. But I'm going to take the Marlins. I'm going to pop back here. I'm going to go. You know, yesterday the public was on them Marlins, and they lost. We took those Padres. They're probably going to jump ship today. They're going to say, oh, you know what? The Padres just beat them, and we'll take them again. I don't think so. I think the Marlins can. You had the call yesterday. It was wrong. You don't go off of it today. I'm going to take those spots that everyone else is jumping off of here tonight. I'm going to zag when everyone else is zigging with them Miami Marlins. I like this pitching battle. And I'm not concerned about the first 5 versus full game because ultimately I'm not going to lay a half a run on the first 5 for the Marlins. I don't trust them enough, and I don't want to take a bloated first 5 with where I think the better bats lie tonight against the worst pitcher of the 2 spots that are out there. So that's the way we're going to cut that cake. We got one more 6:45 game. Let you guys get some time to think about what we have to say, and then we'll go to the chat and see what you guys are popping in on with these games here. Here's a fan favorite. A lot of love today for the under 8.5. Can't fault anybody thinking about that under 8.5. 82% of the bets, only 77% of the cash coming in on them fighting Phils. My Phillies. Red October, baby. Looking to make some noise tonight. And we got a total at 8.5. Now, here's the thing about this total. I love this under 8.5. You got 85% of the bets, 82% of the cash on the over. It's juice into the under. It's a big time problem. And part of the reason I think that you see this overall alarming consensus taking this fighting Phils team is because, one, they're home. It was a battle yesterday, and it's Sanchez, also known as the franchise guy here, Chris Sanchez with a 2.5 ERA. He's got Ricky Fitz with a 4.28 ERA on the other side of things here with Boston. And so how do you approach it? How do you attack this game here? Do you go, let me just take a step back. There's no rhetorical questions here. There's no what-if questions here. This is a spot where you take the Red Sox. I got to fade my fighting Phils. Trends are our friends until the end, and then you got to leverage some stats and some data inside of this thing as well. Nothing in the recent form of this fighting Phillies team has shown you that it's a fighting Phillies spot. Now, the line suggests they go out there and they crack them over the head like a baby seal. Reality is, their offensive performance doesn't show you that be the fact. Yeah, they scored some runs against that LA Angels team out there, but we saw the Mets do the same thing. Fact is, they scored 5 the first game, came back with a 9-pack, then they got a 2. They ran back that 2 yesterday with a happy to get the win in extra innings, 3-2 win over the Red Sox. That's not an offense that wants me to go late. Now you're going to lay a -1? Or you're going to lay the run line. Now, if you're laying the run line, you're thinking, I want to keep the odds down in case they lose. We talk about this all the time. Reality is, they're the home team. And if they're up and thumping on Dick Fitz the way they should be, no pun intended, they're not batting in that 9th inning, which is very problematic when you look at a team that can produce some offense. That's what I'm talking about right now with this Boston Red Sox team. Don't forget, before the All-Star break, they were on a 10-game heater. And the one advantage that Philly potentially has with Sanchez is the fact that he's a lefty. But don't look now. The Red Sox like hitting lefties. This is one of those spots where you got to look at it and say, Dick Fitz has been pitching at a reasonable level. And the market's certainly telling you everybody loves the Phillies, but the number's coming down. All those reasons and then some. I like the under 8.5. I'm not mad at it, but I'm going to say to my guy, Nasty Nate, the Red Sox smash tonight. How about that, Nasty Nate? They don't have to smash. They just have to win 3-2. All we need to see is a spot where they continue to mediocre or underperform. We talked about, as you know, I love the Phillies. There's no question about it, but I'm not afraid to fade away on some squad when you have to. And look, we know that they've got some guys out there, right? We know Kyle Schwarber. I said this guy's an MVP candidate. I said it with Sharpie 3 months ago. I also said Pete Crow Armstrong was going to have a phenomenal season 3 months ago. I just want to throw that out there for what it's worth. But as we look at this Phillies lineup here, Schwarber, Harper, maybe Castellanos, I guess, fall into that process here. But the problem that the Phillies have today, not only are they slumping and not scoring, none of them have seen good old Ricky Fitz. Zeros across the board. And from a Sanchez perspective, he's relatively fresh meat for the Red Sox team. So you got essentially two pitchers with a bunch of zeros across the board. You got a team that's underperforming in this fight and fill spot. And you got a big price tag on this Red Sox team. You can take the 1.5, but you're giving away all your ROI. Why lay a minus 120 with the 1.5? If they lose this game, to me, it's a one-run game. Which means if you take the Phillies -1, you pushed. Good job. You tried to keep the juice down in case they lost. They didn't lose, but you didn't win. And I think this is one of those spots where we take a shot here. We go with this Red Sox team. I just think there's again, in a lower scoring projected game, we don't need many runs, and we project that the Phillies aren't getting many runs. So why can't this be a reverse of cards here today? We see a 3-2 flip-a-roo the other way, and we take a shot with a team that does have the stuff. They do have the WRC+, and they're playing at a ballpark where they should be able to go out there and smash. I think this is a good under, like I said before. 8.5, juice into the over, and it's not moving. So that's going to be the first 3-pack of the day there for you guys. Plenty of time to get those plays in. Let's see what you guys have to say. Thanks, Matt Complex. Appreciate you following me since the pub days. I appreciate that, man. That's where we got to start. That's where we started this thing almost 2 years ago, by the way. October will be 2 full years of rocking, which is the absolute worst time slot if you have a personal life. Let me tell you, all your friends want to go out and grab dinner and drinks and happy hours. Not me, not us. Money never sleeps. We have to be dialed in to get it done. Abel A says, Italy women money. Personally, I think the same. Professionally, they certainly went out there and got the job done. Jay Main's in the house. Damon Waring says, no one gets them all right. I agree. Hey, man, 60% is the number we want to hit, right? Nathan Cerna's ready to cash. He likes Keller's outs over. That's not a bad look. Nasty Nate says, thought you put the Marlins on the shit list yesterday. Well, I bet the Padres yesterday. I think I said if the Marlins won yesterday, they would end up on the shit list. I think. I'll have to go back and check tape. We'll have to check tape, Nasty Nate. But I do think the Red Sox smash Nate. Tigers for Abel A. Markel says it's still the Marlins. Jackson Merrill, 3+ hits, runs, RBIs. Had the Padres yesterday, right back on them. Marlins team total overs on Old East ticket. Zigging and zagging for Nathan Cerner. There's Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy? Says Marlins, baby. Let's go, Jimmy. Good to see you, Jimmy. San Francisco Niners says if we zigzagging, what we rolling up? That fire, man. That green fire. You know what we're rolling up here. Nathan Cerna says 3 words. Christopher Robinson Sanchez. San Francisco Niners says, bro, woke up feeling dangerous. Got a no sweat bet. Red Sox on DraftKings. Me too, Peter. Me too. Maxed it out. Why not? It's a big price tag. Worst case, you get our money back, right? Well, it's not really back, right? It's a bonus bet, but it's still free roll. Kelly V's in the house. What's up, Kelly V? Says Texas Rangers -1.5. I added a spot in that game. Jimmy's giving Fernando the shot. Scott Blaster likes the Rockies money line for Scott. Jerry Davis says, I see it, but not putting my money on Dickie Fitz. All right, Nathan Cerna says, nice story, but he disagrees. All right, that's fine. That's fine. We'll see. I mean, yeah, I don't know about the 10-3 because I think this is a dead under. But we'll see. J Main went right back to the, hey, listen, I get it, man. Yeah, listen, it is the challenge, right? We bet a team, we take a side. I waffle because of my boy Waffles. We talk about it. One of the best guys I know that can just keep ramming the same fucking play down your throat is our guy, Dabby Cap. And I've told him before, like, you just show no fear. You just go right back to the same spot. Now, he'll take some time off of it, but he'll keep fucking, especially watch him in the NBA season. Man, even the NFL. Is A-chain spots out there? I just never been that guy. If I miss an RBI, I'll go back to it the next day, but like sometime after 2, I'm done. And if I win 1 or 2, I don't feel like I got to take it again. The Padres spot yesterday was a big spot for me. But man, nobody does it better than him when it comes to going back to the same. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I got my money in that series. I didn't get my money yet in that Padres Miami series. Like I said, I like the under and I like the Marlins. So we'll see what happens tonight. That number's weird. If they just lost yesterday the way they did, why is it sitting there at minus 130s? Nick Kurtz for J Main, 3+ hits, runs, RBIs. He almost made the 6-leg RBI parlay I have. Make sure you guys do follow the Winnable site, even if it's just for the free plays. Listen, I appreciate you guys that do want to support. Thank you for the opportunity. We don't have big business backing us here. So coming back, doing this thing on a regular basis, yeah, it's time consuming and we want to give you guys our best bet, give you our best effort. So there is an opportunity to jump on board and support us by way of a couple of these extra premium services, if you will, trying to give you guys some extra plays. Cash and overnight KBO play with it as well, but get the free plays. If you do nothing else, what happened? There. Copy and paste this link and go register for the free plays and sign up for the text alert. Only sending you guys text messages for the plays that I drop out there if you opt. You can get them through email as well, or you can go back and check the site regularly and see what's out there. I did put I can't remember how many legs it is today. I think it's a 5 or 6 player prop. We almost cashed that son of a bitch yesterday. Man. Aaron Judge screwed us. And then everything else cashed. We had like 5 play legs right in a row. Like bang, 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 bang. Today it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs. I'll give it to you real quick. Simeon Woods Richardson, 4+ strikeouts. Bryce Harper, 2+ hits, runs, RBIs. Aaron Judge, 2+ hits, runs, RBIs. Seiya Suzuki, 2+ hits, runs, RBIs. Eduardo Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, 2+ hits, runs, RBIs. And Rafael Devers, 2+ hits, runs, and RBIs. It's about 26.5 to 1, give or take. So don't miss out. At least get out there. I'll be honest with you guys. It makes my life easier not to have to keep copying and repasting shit. So appreciate you if you do sign up for those. You don't have to. Listen, I'm just sharing with you where you can find free information, free plays, free insight, trying to help you guys get some paydays. And a lot of these lines move. So I did drop a play out there. I'll tell you this right off the hop. I gave out earlier today. Let me just check. Let's check. Where'd it go? Yeah. Gave out the Mariners Brewers game at 7 earlier today. That was a premium play early today. And the predominant reason early, even though I believe in late betting is great betting, because it was going to move to 6.5. All headwinds showed this thing was going to drop. And guess what? It dropped. So now you have to pay a premium to get that 7 or run the gauntlet with the 6.5. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure you do sign up. Free plays over at Winnable, the Sports Money crew, making sure that we provide you guys with some free, valuable insight. It's really just plays, not really any write-ups or videos or any of that other stuff. It's just free plays out there. And why not? And why not get them when they drop? I know you guys are all busy. You're all doing your thing. You're working. You're doing the family stuff. You're at the grocery store. You're getting your fucking haircut. Whatever. I don't have to worry about the haircut. But all that other stuff, why not just get a quick text message alert that comes in and says, hey, there's a free play. And guess what it looks like? I'll show you right now. Winnable. There they are. Free plays. Sent right to your text. You click that link, it'll pop it right over there for you. Let's go on. This is an 11-game winning streak for this Yankees and Toronto spot. It is the Toronto Blue Jays that have the 11-game winning streak in their back pockets right now. Terrific win yesterday. Smack them boys right in the mother effing mouth. Took them Yankees down. I wanted to mention that because sometimes there's coin flippy spots. And arguably yesterday, when you look at the line, a lot of people like them Yankees. They like them Yanks. It was potentially coin flippy. Now the Yanks lost and the Jays won. We talked about the Jays because that was one of those teams where they're just at the better record head-to-head in the division, and that tends to win. Also, I referenced that because there's a couple of teams you have to look at right now. The Minnesota Twins, the Boston Red Sox, the Milwaukee Brewers. Some would say the San Francisco Giants. Some would say the LA Dodgers. It depends on what you're looking at and what type of crack you're smoking that night. Some would say the Atlanta Braves. And I give you that short list of 6. Why? Because those were the 6 bets that were heavily laid to win their divisions by sharp bettors preseason. So why do I bring that up? Because sometimes when you're at the second half of the season and we're in these coin flippy situations, when you look at a team like Toronto and it's a coin flip against the Yankees, the Sharps aren't on the Yanks. They're buying the Jays to win the division. Well, actually, they're buying the Red Sox to win the division, but they're not buying the Yankees. And so if you need that extra little push, you kind of look at the current trends. As long as the team's in reasonable form versus not, maybe that's enough to say, hey, I'm going to jump in on that Toronto Blue Jay spot yesterday. So congratulations to Bo Jackson. I know he did. I had a little sprinkle on it after the fact, but it wasn't anything to certainly light my hair on fire. Shout out to my hair. Shoot 2 comments in a row. 51% bet, 69% of the cash on the Toronto Blue Jays. The line is moving in their direction. In fact, the Yankees opened up at minus 108. They're now plus 100. And we have that differential we're looking for. Bigger bettors coming in on the Blue Jays. Why is that important? Because generally we talk about this, that's related to the sharper bets. The bigger bets, not necessarily sharp action, just, somebody that's coming in with 10 dimes isn't trying to roll a 3-leg parlay together, right? They're just, I see something I like in the Jays, give me the Jays. And that's what we see here. And the books responded and said, holy shit, we got to make the Yankees more attractive. Think about that. A very public spot in the Yankees. They want to make them more attractive. Total went from 9.5 down to 9. 79% of the bets were on the over, only 68% of the cash. And what do we see here? Mad Max Scherzer has not had the season of his life for sure. And Schlittler. I used to work with a dude that was very close in that last name. I won't say it here, but Schlittler coming in here with a 5.06 ERA against this team that's red hot right now. We know them boys are in a fade situation. And all of a sudden, with this Blue Jays team, they're becoming more risk-laden to bet them. So you're going to see a flood of people coming in here trying to bet these Yankees here because it's even money. You're giving me the Yankees at even money. Guess what? I don't think you're catching a break by catching the Yankees at even money. To me, this is a spot where you got to look at it. Get ready. We'll end with a 16-0 trend. Home favorites after a win as a dog. Books saw enough to make them a favorite the next game are 56-19. They've won 8 in a row in that spot. Add in that team has a better win percentage. They're 18-2 in their last 20. Both trends saying Toronto's going to come back out here and do the old baby seal club. And then last but not least, if the game stayed under and now you're facing a righty, those teams are 16-0. That means Toronto's in a 16-0 position, which I like the most because it's saying, first of all, they surprised everybody as the dog. Now the books are struggling to react and try to put some respect on the line. They've got the better win percentage, so they're a winning team. And they're playing against the most common arm being thrown in Major League Baseball, which is a righty. So they should go out there and smack and crack the baseball. I almost said football. I was talking to somebody about football earlier today. All that being said, it's good enough for me to get involved and invested on this Toronto Blue Jays team. Again, I know it's 11 in a row. I know I like to try to look the other direction. But I like what Nathan Cerna says. So you're telling me a rookie named Schlittler is going to go into Toronto and shut him down? I don't think so. Not these bets. Not in this situation. Not for me. And yeah, Toronto loves to beat up on them Spanks, the Spankies. But San Francisco Niner likes the Spanks team total over, thinking it is a higher scoring game. Shout out to Justin McKelvey. He likes the Yankees over 4.5 as well. Plus money price tag out there. Expect a Mad Max Scherzer to shit the proverbial money bed. Yeah. 27 at-bats for Giancarlo Stanton. He's got a 259. That's the best batting average against Max Scherzer out there. Max has beaten the Yankees already this season. And you got a lot of guys that are the lefties. Just looking at this thing. Surprising. So Mad Max, he's got a 267 batting average against lefties. Yet you've got Grisham as a lefty with a 174, Bellinger as a lefty with a 105, Chisholm as a lefty with a 250. He's only had 8 at-bats. Ben Rice, nothing as a lefty. Austin Wells, nothing as a lefty. Hjorbit Vivas? Who the fuck is that guy? How did he get across the border? And he's a lefty with no at-bats. If that guy goes yard today, I'll give somebody $10 if they retweet it and remind me. No fucking way. And I get it. Mad Max is, oh, wait, there he is. Let's take a peek at who this fucking bozo is. Yeah, he's got a red clown nose too. Triple A Scranton Wilkes-Barre, replacing DJ LeMahieu. After DJ got shuffled there, right? DJ was the second baseman, 24 years old, 22 games earlier this season, batting a 156, 7 for 45 with a homer and 4 RBI. Yeah. All right. Give me Toronto. That doesn't mean we can't see scoring. I don't disagree with you boys in this team total spots here. I don't like this under. I like this over. So I'll root for you boys. How about this? How about we root for a 6-5 Toronto win? Preferably they find themselves in a position where I can get some plus money on them along the way. So I did yesterday with the Cardinals. It's a great spot. Cardinals were just too big a favorite. And then they went down against them Rockies, and they came back and they fired. And it was a plus money tag. If you catch them at the right time. We flat bet everything here. 1 unit. I track it as $100. It's not my unit size, but I track it as $100. Simply to show you guys that you can do this and win money if you keep it doesn't have to be $1,000 bet. Right. And reason I reference that is because I like to live bet. I'll live bet spots when I see a trend that's like 16-0 and the team goes down a little bit, I'll shake a leg and pop that thing. That's why it hurts me so much when you see like a under 8.5 in the what do you call it? Nomad Athletics Texas Ranger spot, and they score at the end because it's like, man, I was live betting that thing. I hit it 2 or 3 times. Anyhow, live betting strategy is a little bit different than the pregame flop strategy out there. A lot of guys want to wait till the live bet, and it's like, yeah, I took those Cardinals live bet because the parlay had busted. Tampa Bay was getting fucked up right from the hop. It was like, what, 6-0 right away or something like that? Like, Tampa Bay wasn't in a position to come back. They're in a position to say, fuck it, we'll use outfielders to pitch so we don't waste our bullpen so we can go after them again today. And that's where I think the White Sox find themselves in a little bit of trouble. But anyhow, it's enough baseball strategy. I'll talk strategy on all sports all day with you guys if you want. But that's a different show. This show, we got to get to business here. Angels and Mets, I lean to the over. I lean to the Angels first 5. Once bitten, twice shy. Can't do it. This line's oscillated here. 75% of the bets now. Where'd it go? Shit. Something popped off and it messed up my... There we go. 75% of the bets. Only 47% of the cash are on the Mets, and it's gone down a penny. It's also gone up 5 cents on the other side. So sharper bettors are taking the Angels just as a betting analysis report. The bigger bets are coming in on the Angels. I almost whacked that first 5. I just kind of got to figure out the way to attack it. My thought in that game, because I really sat around thinking, how do I attack? Because I want to play it again today, but the Angels fucked me yesterday with that shit bullpen. And you got a shit bullpen against a team that plays better in the bottom 3 innings of the game. Somewhere in there's got to be a middle ground, like a first 7 maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to live bet and look for a first 7 as I talk that out loud. The Giants, though, have a 14-game trend on the line tonight here. We'll talk about it right now. 60% of the bets are on them. Atlanta Braves. 51% of the cash, however, buying into them Giants. San Francisco coming out there on the East Coast. East Coast, you know, they go after it. And what do we see here? Well, we see yesterday's game was an explosion of runs. I told you yesterday my thought process as I looked at this card. Going to have some uncertainty with this hot Atlanta Braves lineup. Not buying them. The injuries, they scored 9 runs yesterday. They won the game 9-5. Great. The Giants have been losing and losing and losing and losing. They even got shut out and lost again. Granted, they played Toronto, fresh off the All-Star break. They got busted up a little bit by the Dodgers before that. So this is a team that's reeling. If they're going to be competitive, I referenced them earlier when it came to sharps and who they believe are going to win the division. It's the Giants and it's the Dodgers. Now, friends of ours will say Padres, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. But I referenced that because you got a team that's on a losing streak right now. They're trying to get that Devers thing figured out. First game, Devers will play first base tonight. Is that a little confidence boost? I know they were fighting in the locker room when he was in Boston about that first base situation out there. I'm going to tell you why I'm on the Giants. Like San Francisco in the spot. One, I think it's a good bounce back. They got thumped. Two, if you're going to bounce back against any team after they blew their load, the blown load theory is in play. That's the Atlanta Braves. If Atlanta was a favorite, they get 6 or more runs the last game. You fade them. You're 17-2 if Atlanta blows their load in a fade spot. They've won 14 straight in that fade position, meaning you fade Atlanta after they scored 6 or more runs as a favorite. You've won 14 straight times. Not to mention the Braves aren't very strong against the NL West. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with the NL West teams kind of thumping on the NL East teams, and the Nationals put that trend to shit. But that's a different story. Actually, it wasn't the Nationals. It was I don't remember. Was it San Diego beating up on? I don't remember. Anyways, if you fade the Braves against the NL West, you're 20-6 as well. So both those positions suggest San Francisco's in a bounce back spot. A trend where I think is the Sharps kind of correlating with it. They like this team. They bet the Braves they bet the Giants pre-series, and they lost the first game. So they got to come back now. If the Sharps bet the Giants to win the series, they got to come back and fire on the next couple of games, or they're going to lose the series. And that's not a position the Sharps like to be in. It happens, but not that often. So good enough for me. I'm going to take this San Francisco Giants team. I'm going to ride that 14 trend win streak out there in fading the Braves after they have blown their proverbial loads. What say you guys? San Francisco Niners says Rupp over 4.5 Ks. Abel A says bust them up good. Nathan Cerny says last game the Spanx pounds first. I think this is a clobbering start to finish. Played Toronto money line and the over 7.5. There you go. Justin thinks Max gets sparked tonight. Shouldn't sniff the 5th inning. Nasty Nate thinks the Red Sox smash. All right. That's going to be a fun game. That's popping off here in just a few minutes. A couple more games that we'll talk about here for you guys. I'm going to roll back to this one. If they give me tonight, it's funny. We laughed the other day because I skipped the 2 games. Well, maybe that was the Marlins game. I skipped the 2. I can't remember. No, I played. Anyhow, I'm going back to this one. Look, it's all the same reasons that we talked about yesterday. So I won't repeat it in the frame of being original. The Marlins are up 1-0 right now. Right now. That just happened. Right now. Looking at this spot, though, we've got this situation. Although they're big favorites now, this Texas Rangers team, 91% of the bets, 93% of the cash are on the Rangers. The world was on the Athletics yesterday. The world got thumped. Everybody lost in that game, as I said, because I was on the under. 8's gone to 7.5 with 91% of the bets and 91% of the cash. Wow. The differentiator for me, you guys know I look for any kind of little edge, little trend, little angle to push me in that direction. And if I think it's strong enough, I'm going to buy into me. This has a lot to do with Roberto Ortiz. You don't know who he is? He's the home plate umpire tonight. And he loves his unders. The unders hit 75 to 53. If the total's set below a 9, it's 66 and 43. So 75 and 53 is a 59% win ratio. When it's below that key number of 9, it goes up 2 full points. Furthermore, if the under in a home favorite starting ace, Jacob deGrom, the under's 266 and 171. 66 and 31 this season. It's gone up this season, the under, with the ace on the bump and the home favorite. Then you got conference mid-season games with reverse line movement. Ergo, this line went from 8 to 7.5, and all that cash is coming in on the over. 37 and 21 this season to the under. That's a 64% win ratio. That's the magic number we're looking for. I'm going to run back to it today. And if it gets me today, we won't be doing it tomorrow. How about that? There's my money. It's on Texas. I looked at the 8, by the way. It's like minus 150 now. No good. No chance. If we're going to lose a run in the eighth or ninth inning, it is what it is. I don't think so, but I do think that the Marlins are up. In fact, I know the Marlins are up 2-0 to start that game off out there. Onward, upward, Let's keep her moving. Let's talk about this Diamondbacks game. Here's where I think I got a little sneaky inside info. It's not really inside info. It's maybe a false pretense here. But I do believe that there's something going on with Framber Valdez, Exxon Valdez, whatever you want to call him. Now, the dude's a killer. There's no doubt about it. In fact, Framber has himself in a nice little 12-0 position tonight. Ask yourself this. Why have they moved Framber Valdez from the starting position every single game since the All-Star break? Something not right? Or are the Astros just trying to outflank their opponents? We know pitchers are creatures of habit. They like to start on every 5 days or every 6 days, or they want to keep that same level of rest and play. So when you start tinkering with that, we start looking to fade those boys if we can find those spots where they're out of rotational situation. That means, was Framber warming up the first game after the All-Star break and something didn't happen right? And he said, I'm not sure. I don't know. My suspicion, I surmise, my inference, whatever you want to call it, is this is the game that they decide whether Framber goes on the IL or not. No facts to back it up other than just some things I read, some things I heard. Arizona overs are a whopping 62-21. The desert heats up and it gets rolling. Rodriguez, when he's in the dog roll for the Arizona Diamondbacks as he sits tonight, he's 7-0 to the over. So I took this down to 8 and I slapped in Arizona. Why did I handle it that way? Guardians are up 1-0. I handled it that way because this is fully relying on my suspicion based on the research I've done that Framber's fucked up. And if he's fucked up, pardon my French, but he's given up 4 or 5 runs early. Maybe it's 2 or 3 and he just doesn't look right in the second inning and they go, whoosh. Either way, Arizona's up. Now you can catch Arizona. Predominantly it's around like plus 105s across the board. There is a 120 that's sitting out there. So I thought about double dipping this game, but unlike yesterday with the Brewers, where we had some confident information both on trends on the under and the Brewers, I believe in this over, and I'm riding my suspicion, and it's a big price tag if I'm right, plus 255. Not double dipping, single spot, but I don't think something's right. And we'll find out tonight. Maybe I'm full of shit. I mean, I'm telling you what I read, and I'm telling you what I heard. I heard multiple sources correlating it. I wouldn't come on here and put my money on a spot where I'm just crossing my fingers that this is the situation. And I'm not hoping that the guy's injured. Just be clear. I'm just riding. Why would you do that? Why would you take your starter who's a creature of habit and move him every single day since the All-Star break? I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. I'm not taking it. Not buying that bill of shit. I'm going to fade him. And speaking of fades, I'm going to fade the 11-game winning streak as we look at this Seattle Mariners spot out there for the last game. A lot of baseball for me tonight. I know I'm jacked up. I'm invested tonight. 69% of the bets, 76% of the cash are in the Brewers. So you got a lot of public money coming in, and you got even more sharper money coming in. And what did they do to the line? They oscillated. It went from 114 to 110. To me, that says that somebody opened it up with some limits. They didn't like what they saw. And so the books are now countering and readjusting as they go. Minus 134 now, minus 125 on the Mariners side of things here. So the Mariners line has come down, as has the Brewer side of things. Start there. I told you I gave out that 7 earlier, so do with that information what you will, because it's 6.5 across the board. 98% of the bets, 59% of the cash. That's another reason to get on board and support. If I'm sitting around having breakfast and I see something that says to me, wait a minute, all the headwinds are telling us this thing's going to drop. Let's get it now. You don't want to miss that information. You're sitting in a meeting with your boss. He's telling you you're fucking underperforming, and you got to get that fucking fax over to the other client now because they've been waiting for it for 2 days. And I don't care how busy you are. You know what? Nothing brightens the day up more than seeing a text alert that comes in and says, take this now. The line's going to move. Now we got to win. But this one comes down to, some people will say, I just got to beat the line. I'm not buying that bullshit. You got to win too. That's why late betting is great betting. But Logan Gilbert has been playing pretty well. He's an under machine out there, especially when he's at home. 3.39 ERA through 12 starts on the season. and he finished strong. He's looking to start strong. It's a bitcher ballpark. We talked about it, and Seattle's not built properly at home, so I'm willing to take that into consideration here because he's a 2.29 ERA at home, 3.39 through 12 starts, 2.29 at home. That means he's pitching better in the ballpark that favors pitchers. Go figure. He's actually a 4.91 on the road, so there you go from a little bit of stat differential out there with this guy. And I know the Brewers, 6 or more runs in 6 of their last 7 games. I get it. They're scoring like fucking crazy. My thought process here is Mizorowski, and what do we see out of Jacob Mizorowski? He's got a 2.81 ERA through 5 starts. On the road, his ERA goes up. We talked about that earlier. It's a full run higher, in fact. 3.81. He's gotten lucky. He's had some really stranded runner positions that are. This was one of those spots I found that was really hard. So he's got a 1.60 BABIP, right? When balls are getting hit, they're not getting hit with power and in play. And on top of that, 86.2% left on base ratio. I just think that bubble's about to burst for this dude. He's only made 2 road starts, as I mentioned. He gave up 5 runs in his last one. They pulled him after 3.2 innings. So I think the tape comes out. I think they've had some time to look at this. And now we're going to go back to some of these baseball-driven trends. The Mariners, in July, are 3rd best baseball versus righties. They got a 362 OBA. WRC plus, I told you we brought that up for a reason. 2nd best in baseball, 139 WRC plus. And a 278 batting average is 5th best in baseball. When they hit, they're hitting to power. Their ISO is 216 right now. That's 5th best in baseball. That's good enough to give them a top 10 offense against righties. It gets even better in the month of July. All those reasons aside, I think that streak comes to an end tonight. I'm taking this Seattle Mariners team. I already gave out the under, so maybe a Seattle and under if you want. If you want to buy into that and get on board with that train, that's up to you. That's my thought. Vitalis. Don't like the steam coming down on Seattle. They even have the sharps on them and still coming down. Yeah, but it's not, it's a great point, but you're not seeing the correlated result on the other side with the Brewers. Are you seeing the Brewers line go up? I mean, I'm not. Maybe it is. And I know this game's later, so it'll be interesting to debate it. DJ Hardy says he thinks something's off with him. Vital says, how about Arizona versus lefties at home, only hitting 221? But if you believe he's hurt, I'm rooting for you. Sounds bad that I'm not rooting for him to get hurt, just so we're all clear. I'm just rooting for my money, and my money's backing the philosophy that I read that this guy's fucked up. So great comments, you boys and girls. Thank you guys all for being here. We got 2 WNBA games to pop into. I told you the sharp respected cash coming in on this WNBA side for them. Indiana, Caitlin Clark-less Fever. Pay them what they owe you. They don't owe you shit, especially if Caitlin Clark's not playing. But we're going to look at the Sky and Lynx game here. I don't get the cash flow splits, so I just only give you guys some trends that I've got here. And this one comes down to the fact that, yeah, Angel Reese is going to be in the game here. Yeah, the Minnesota Lynx are fucking terrors. They scare the shit out of everybody. The lines come down 3 points. How are you going to go give these girls on the Sky 16 points? Man, if it didn't drop to 15 and a half, I'd be rolling on that. But I got to take this under. I'm taking the under in this game, and I'm going to tell you, the biggest thing for me as I was looking at it had a lot to do with intersecting zeros. It's tough to find trends that are relevant post All-Star game, just full disclosure, right? They've had rest in there, right? They all had the All-Star break. They all can prepare. So even, like, I think that Caitlin Clark-less 11-point number is an insult for them, Fever, because they knew Caitlin Clark wasn't going to play. It's not like the Framber Valdez where they just said, oh, he's not playing today. Caitlin wasn't playing. They knew it. They had a week to prep for it. In this case, though, I thought I found a relevant spot because a couple things still matter. Covering spreads, revenge spots, and rest when it comes to the All-Star break. And all 3 light up for this game. The Sky, rested dogs getting more than 7.5 points in a revenge spot are 7-0 to the under. The rest after the All-Star break, they're large dogs. Probably they're large dogs because of some injuries, of course. We'll take that. And it's a revenge spot. But the queen of the me-bounds is out there. Man, it's so ugly when she pops that ball off her own basket and then picks it up. Unfucking believable. You can't. No one ever told that girl about trajectory. They don't teach trajectory down in LSU. What's going on down there? On the other side of things, the Lynx intersect the 0 because they're 8-0 when they're at home with the rest, and they covered back-to-back spots. Now, the back-to-back spots were pre-All-Star game, but the closest I could find was that rest and home and intersecting zeros that correlate with the line movement. So I got the under 159.5 in the Sky game. And the last one's a little bit of a flyer as I look at this last game on the WNBA card. Oops, sorry, guys. I missed this if you care about their record. Sky are bad. 16 points is a lot of points. I think the same thing with the Fever. 11 points is a lot of points. I'll tell you this. Dallas Wings and Seattle Storm, I think 9.5 points is too many points. I don't think, we saw before the All-Star break, every favorite won. But remember, we cashed that 4-leg parlay. Or was it 5 legs? I can't remember. It was 5 legs. We had 4 favorites, all money lines. They were like minus 300. Then we slid the Wings in there. And what did the Wings do? They got busted up in the first half of that game. Busted up. You want to cash this parlay out? We'll give you 50 cents. Congratulations. And then what they do? The fourth quarter? Wow, they could have rivaled with Steph Curry. Maybe not Steph Curry, but Chef Curry, maybe. Maybe. Chef from South Park, maybe. And I think this kind of correlates to this here. So we've seen the line started at 10.5. It's moved down to 9.5s and 9s. I get it. The Wings are not the best team in the business by any stretch, but I do think that little late performance out there. What I like most about this, and I say it's too many points, is because you see Seattle's inconsistent. The problem that they've got is the Wings defense stinks. There's no question. But their offense can kind of hang in there with a lot of teams, and that's why they cover spreads. Overall, they're 10-13. They're not world beaters, but as dogs, they're 8-10. They just don't give up. And you saw that in that last game of the series there before the All-Star break. They're not winners. They're 6-17 straight up. They're 3-15 in the dog roll. Looking for a big surprise? You better look again. But the Storm beat the Valkyries. We know the Valkyries were busting everybody's ass going into that All-Star break. They were due for now. Prior to that, though, the Storm took 3 losses. They lost to the Sun twice. The Sun stink. They lost to the Mystics. Mystics stink. There's no reason that and by the way, 2 of those 3 losses were outright. So if you do want to take a little flyer and say that this magical little Dallas Wings team has some opportunity out there, well, you're going to be pleasantly rewarded because that money line is sitting there at plus 350s, plus 330s, plus 340s. I'm just going to take the 9.5. It's going to give me enough anxiety sitting around rooting for these girls to not blow a 10-point cover. And that's the way we're going to close the show today. So there it is, you guys. A lot of plays, a lot of action, a lot of breakdowns, a lot of insight. Now we got to put that money in and we got to see if it can correlate to W's for us. Stop Geo Engineer says, I did throw this daily FanDuel 50% home run boost on Altuve plus 840. Great splits versus Rodriguez and a few homers to boot. And Stop Geo says they're up 1-0, them fighting Phils. They are. Maybe they're on their way to 10-4. Maybe I'll take my free bet and take my ball and go home and take my L. But we'll be back. Excuse me. Choke myself thinking about that. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, 6 p.m. Doing the thing just like we did it today. Hopefully we're coming back celebrating a whole bunch of victories. You guys know, make sure you sign up out there for the free text alerts from Winnable. If you want to support and grab a package, I'll extend your monthly membership through the end of August. I'll give you an extra 9 days for free if you want to show some support out there with that. Make sure you smash the thumbs up on this video and show some support to the Sports Money crew. We got that golf video out there today. Give a like on it. Shout out to Tom, giving some great feedback, great comments. I read them all. We try to comment to all of them as well. We'll let you guys know that we saw them and that we appreciate you doing that. On behalf of our Sports Money crew, good luck.